Sorry for the long wait. Hopefully it was this will be a great one for our last final one. Like I said, I've been working on getting everything together for this all week long like crazy, and at the last minute I just could not get it all together, so sorry I had to postpone it an extra hour, but hopefully it'll be well worth it. So let's go and talk about we talked about all week long. I know there's only two of you on here right now. I imagine more people will start joining. So first we talked about what tools to use. You know, what tools do you use to do the job? And we kind of went into that. And we got into heat and pop, how to heat things up and how to pop them apart, and how to reuse them. And then we talked about using other figures and basically kit bashing from other figures. Then we talked about doing different kinds of light paint applications on your figures. And then we got into 3D printing and how to use that for different things. So today is a compilation of all that. Hey, thanks for joining. I appreciate it, both of you guys. So Lance, thanks for joining. Rapper Maker, I'm probably saying your name wrong. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it, you guys. Yep, Dean, no time to sleep. And David Curtis, thanks for joining us. So today, what I'm making is I am making a 2000X Skeletor. I know some of you guys have seen me make them before. This will be a build I've never done completely before the way I'm going to do it. Oh, Raffer. Nice. Just Raffer. All right, so Raffer, thanks for joining us. And so this will mix everything you've seen so far, from light paint apps to heat and pop to 3D printing stuff to everything we talked about, and of course the tools. And we're going to build ourselves a 2000X Skeletor out of this Skeletor here. Now, earlier in the week, I showed you guys taking the Skeletor and pulling him apart out of the package. I already pulled off his boots. And so this guy's just about ready to go. So let's go ahead and with Super 7, you always want to heat him up before you pull him apart. So let's go ahead and heat him up a little bit. I'm going to toss him in here. And I want to pull off his hands and his head. And then eventually we're going to pull off his legs too. So let's get his hands and head off. We'll just drop him in the vat of boiling water. There we go. And let me show you some of the preliminary parts I've already put together. So for the 2000X, I wanted to use some cool boots. Now in the past, I've used boots like this before. And these boots work great. And actually, I've usually used them in gold or something else like that. But this time I knew I was going to paint them. So I actually grabbed them from this guy right here. So they originally started green. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with the purple. Now, I wanted more than just this boot, though. I wanted it to look more like the 2000X. So what I did was I made this overlay piece. Let's see. Oh, no. More mutilation of the loved characters. Well, yeah. I already did kind of cut them up a little bit. And so what I did was I made this piece that goes over the top and gives it that 2000, oops, got upside down, that 2000X look. So you can see kind of how that goes on there. But I didn't want to glue it on in case I wanted to pull it off. That way I could have both looks. And then to hold it in place, I just grabbed one of my wife's hair rubber bands. Just going to stick it on over the top of this just to kind of keep it in place there. And then make sure it stays on tight. And the paint's still pretty fresh on these, so I got to be careful about how I use the paint on that. And there we go. There's a 2000X look. Hey, Ben. Thanks for joining us for the figure. And I've already took the feet, and the feet I went and got from this guy right here. And two ways to do the feet. Because I used this boot right here, I had to actually sand the feet in both directions on the inside to accommodate the way it fits into this boot because it's different. But if you use the original boots that came with Filmation Skeletor, it just has one pin going in, and you'll drill a brand new hole to fit that in there. So it just depends how you do it. I could use sticky tack. I really dislike using sticky tack because I find that as time goes on, it gets kind of warm and things kind of fall apart. And so I hate to use sticky tack. Yep, this is from Batman. Yep, this is... And like I said, his feet work great for Skeletor. I mean, check that out. Look how cool that looks. All right, so then I already did the wrist cuffs. So you don't have to watch me doing the wrist cuffs in slow motion here on the you know, spending half an hour doing those. I'm going to go ahead and heat those up so they're ready to go. So I'm dropping those in the vat as well. Let's go ahead and pull this Skeletor out. Take off his head. Take off his hands. And we're going to reuse his hands, so we got to make sure we save those. And now to get his armor off. Now his armor is glued in place by these two pinch points right here. So you can either take and break one of the paint or just get it a little warm and just kind of stretch it up over the top. So when it came to his armor, I wanted to get a 2000X Skeletor that did not have a hole in the back of his armor. Because most of the Skeletor armors have a hole in the back because they have like a push button that you push. And let me grab mine really quick. I should have pulled them up earlier. Hold on a sec, you guys. All right, so here is our 2000X Skeletor, and this one's not going to be mutilated. This is my keeper one. And he has a button right here, and it causes a hole to be in his armor. But if you buy the Skeletor that comes in the pack that comes with that big Battle Ram Chariot, because there's no action feature, there's no hole in the armor. And so that's why I wanted to use this one in particular. Now what's interesting is this figure here was also from the same set, and no hole in the, or no button in the back, but his did have a hole in the back, and they painted his armor on his legs black on his shorts. So it's kind of weird that they had two different versions they released. Now this figure I'm not going to destroy because I like the yellow paint on it, but I am going to take his armor and then I'm going to set him aside so I don't accidentally break the wrong figure. So I'm going to set this guy aside because I want him to be preserved, because it's a little harder to get this, and I really love the fact that he has that. Yep, this is the Battle Ram figure. That is correct. And I like it because there's no action feature. So if you wanted to do stop motion with him, he's perfect for it because his arm's not always trying to shoot around and stuff. So, yep, very cool. So I got his armor. I'm going to use his armor. I'm going to use his legs. Not his legs, but his loincloth here. And then already used his arm pieces for the arms. So let's go ahead and slide those arm pieces on. You know what? We also have to do some with this loincloth. Now I'm hoping to remove this loincloth, but last time I did, it was just glued in place because Super 7 just coated this thing in glue. And so I'm guessing this might have the same problem. So we'll heat it up and check it out and see what Super 7 did. Let me get the arm bands out of there. And these armbands are pretty difficult to put on. I suggest that you put them on, you aim them so that they aim towards the spot right there, lined up. And this is why I use the Filmation Skeletor for this, because his arms are smooth right here, so you can slide these on easier. Yep, it's going to take some more heating than what I have just from that little... Let's grab the heat gun. Oh, guess I got to plug it in first. Now that you mention it, when you show us your stop motion project. Oh, yes, my next set of classes are actually going to be on how to do stop motion. So let's see if I can get that on there. Almost. So close. A little bit more heat. All right, so that one's on there, looks pretty good. Now for the other side. I'm going to throw it in the water first for a minute again, just to warm it up initially. But you can see you want to try to get it as flat as you can on the end, so his hand's not sticking out too far. Now his hand is going to stick out a little bit just because of the way the wrist is designed on this, but that's okay. We will live with it. Now whenever you heat up a figure, in order to alter him, make sure that you heat from all directions if you're going to use a heat gun, and don't let the heat gun sit anywhere too long on any part of him, otherwise it will melt him. So you got to be really careful sometimes. All right, let's just heat up his parts again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to first put this wrist cuff on before I dunk his hands back in there to stick on his hands. It's funny, the left one always has the most problems for some reason. I think it's the way the Four Horsemen shaped it on the actual figure itself, so when you remove it and try to put it back on to a different figure, it's just not quite straight on. So close. Please make a He-Man with a gold belt, gauntlets, and silver armor. You did see my cool He-Man I made here, didn't you? My Filmation one. Look at that. Ooh, anyway. All right. That actually came out better than the other one. I'm going to go back and reheat the other one, see if we can get that on better. Cool. That looks way better. All right, let's heat these up and let's toss his hands back on and then get his legs off. Now, one thing I want to be careful of, sometimes if you overheat a figure where his torso is, the torso is made of different plastic, and sometimes it will cause the torso to crack because the plastic will shrink on one side or the other. So be very careful when you're heating a figure up that you don't accidentally cause the torso to crack. Let's see if we got it warm enough yet. Come on, you can do it. Ugh. There we go. There's one hand. There is the other hand. All right. I think I might have slid that back a little bit by forcing it the wrong way. There we go. So, how cool looking is that? We are partway there already. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can get this loincloth off and these legs. I'll toss them back in the water. We'll use his arms to keep his torso from going too deep in the water. So you can kind of see how I have him sitting there. Let's see, what are the questions coming in? Oh, thanks, David. I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing my videos, you guys. I'm going to probably have to make a custom gauntlet from the epoxy sculpt because I don't feel like buying another He-Man solely to give him the right hands. All right, good idea. All right, so let's see. So what also I'm working on is, this is the new head that I'm working on for him, my 2000X head. And I want to show you, I use that to repaint the harness. Nice. Yep, I should find some flexible acrylic paint. That'd be a great idea. So what's cool about this head is I want to show you something that I have. Oh, I can't find it right now. There it is. So what I used was a clear head like this to start with. And I used this clear head on purpose for a couple reasons. One, I left some parts bare on here, unpainted. So hopefully his eyes will glow when I'm done putting it together. So that's the idea. I actually have two different ones. I got an orange one and a red one. I decided to go with the orange one for this build. So it's kind of a cool head. And Plastic Curves is where I got these from, in case you guys are curious. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully take off my masking that I have for this so it's ready. So let's go ahead and pull off this masking here on the back. And hopefully it's still clear on there. This is lots and lots of layers of paint that I've put on this. And ta-da! Got a nice little spot that's bare there. I'll probably put a slight clear purple on the back so that it's not as noticeable. And now for his eyes. So I have these little screwdriver here. And what I used was that blue tack that everyone keeps talking about using for sticking things together. It works pretty good for masking things too. Oh, come on out of there. Let me aim this down better. Blue tack has gone through a lot. I have painted it so many times. I have heated it up many times trying to get the paint to cure quickly. Now let's take out the other eye. There's a comment. Let's see what it says. If you want to make an origin Skeletor with blue feet of Valo's deep blue model paint colors near 1-to-1 match surprisingly. Oh, nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's see if we can't get this other eye cleaned out. Skeletor, what did you stuff in your eye, man? So what I'll probably do is after I get this out, I'll probably do a little bit of paint cleanup right around the eyes. Oh, there's some more comments coming in. Purple and green weapons. Oh, you mean Keldor? Nice. More power to you, bro. Love the custom figures. Thanks, Wallian. I appreciate that. Don says purple and green weapons. And Dean says, was looking at the diamond ray too long. That's funny. Ah, my eyes. Now, for those that are 2000X fans, if you've seen the one where he's fighting King Hiss, and he tells King Hiss, or Weevil Lyn tells King Hiss that he has no eyes, and that's why he can't turn into stone when he looks at Snakeface. Let me switch my glasses to my other ones so I can see them doing better. Let's see, Alfredo says, I always think Hal sees the He-Man Origins light sword. And then, not sure what the question is there. If someone else wants to answer them while we're on the thing, I'll be okay with that. I'm trying to pick this last little bit of putty out of his eye. I'll probably have to use a Q-tip later on to get it, but I'll show you kind of the effect. So, where did I stick my flashlight? There it is. Oh, that's the wrong one. There it is. So, here's the head. And there are the eyes. Check that out. So, kind of cool concept of using the back of his head to light his eyes up. So there you go. How fun is that, right? All right, so I used a pencil to hold it in place so that I could paint it and get it all ready. Like I said before, I took it back with a Q-tip and clean that up a little more and maybe add some paint around the edges. Let's go ahead and see if we can get his legs off now. Now let's see if they glued it on this time or if I can actually get it off. It's so strange with Super 7. It's always kind of a hit and miss whether you're going to actually be able to work on the figures or not. Sometimes the paint apps are just all over the place. All right, this one might come off. That'd be great if it could because I want to use this for a different custom later on. So this time they did not glue it on there. The last one was glued so much I couldn't even get it off at all. So this is great news because I really want to save this loincloth so I can use the matching armor on some other figures some other time. Oops, sorry I'm out of the camera view, but I'm trying to fight this loincloth. I am so glad this one's not glued. Because now, like I said, I can have a matching set now. Ba-ding! That I can use with some other figures sometime. Alright, so now, the problem we have, if I just stick on the loincloth right now, it is going to be way too tight around this waist. So I got to somehow bump that out. So, what I like to do is I like to use, just so I can find something here. I like to use a loincloth that does not have any kind of decorations on it or anything. Hold on a sec while I try to find one. I have a kit of parts that I have kind of sitting around everywhere. And like giant tackle boxes that I keep full of parts when I make customs. And I could have sworn I had these shorts already sitting out, but I guess I didn't. So, let me show you my mess of parts. See, lots of extra parts, boots and loincloths and everything else. Here we go. Look at these. These are awesome because there's no extra details on them. They work great. And let me put that back. Let's see some questions here. Bro, I can't wait to get my channel up and running again. Brian, that'll be awesome. Revenge is like Safari served stew. Tastes best served cold. Funny. Today I got Tila Man at Arms, Evil Lyn, Beast Man. All I need is one Prince Adam and the Sky Sled. Nice, some other fan. And Don, wow, nice. Alright, dude, that's too much for like a body parts collector. Hey, when I was a kid, I was in the Micronauts, and Micronauts, they used to have something called the body banks in the comics, and that always kind of was what I used to always think of when I used to do my customs and stuff. Alright, so let's heat these up and put them back on. I'm going to drop them in my cup of water, get that going. We'll stick that on. I guess for our wedding, we could stick his armor on, see how that looks. Now, this armor does fit a little smaller on this figure, so I may heat it up and stretch it to fit better. And normally, I'd actually go along and try to use some kind of regular Classics armor, but I decided this time, I'm just going to go with the 2000X armor to do it. So there we go. And again, I wanted this one because there's no hole in the back for the button, which for me was really important. I'm probably going to go back and repaint some stuff on this. I'm probably going to paint these top flanges black to match. So let's go ahead and slide that on. Yep, it is a very tight fit. So again, I'll probably heat this up and stretch it in place to make it fit right. That's one cool thing about plastics and rubber, being able to reshape and stretch a little bit. It does make it nice to have things fit that usually would not fit too well. I know one time I made a figure and the armor was so tight, I actually used a little bit of glue and made a glue stopper so the armor would stay on. So I'm going to set this aside for right now because we need to get working on this or we're going to run out of time. All right, some other fan asked, which is my most excited character for Origins? I'm kind of looking forward to Cyclone. That'd be kind of fun to see. All right, let's go and snap this guy in half. Make sure it's the one I want to snap in half. Here we go, you guys. Grab them, break them. And there we go. There is the loincloth we're going to use. So now we have to heat it up and cut around it. And it takes a small little heating, not much at all, because it's really thin rubber. Just kind of dip it in there and then cut around this on top. All right, this is coming together pretty good. All right, so you can see the leftover part on the inside. I'm now going to take and sand that out with my Dremel tool. And for this, you're just going to use a regular barrel. Looking for a little bit smaller one though. There we go, here's my smaller barrel. Yeah, the nice thing is if you can find the figures cheap on eBay sometimes, it's not so bad then. Or if you know you're doing it for that particular reason. So you know ahead of time you are buying them just to customize, then it's not quite so bad either. All right, let's go ahead and sand this thing down. All right. So now we got that ready. I'm going to go ahead and that's how it looks when it's done. You've cut that all around, so there's no edge sticking out anymore. I'm going to toss this in the hot water and pull the other one out. Let me get my spoon and get the other one out. And let's go ahead and put this loincloth back on. Now, to get this loincloth back on, notice there's a wide section and a small section. And then if you take a look, there's a wide one on this side and a small one on the other side. So that's how you know to orientate it correctly. You put it over the tabs. Force it up as high as you can with your fingers. If you can, get it up above the little hip area. Just like that. Once you get it above the hip area, everything else is pretty easy. Now this one's actually closed in front, so it's like underwear as opposed to a loincloth. Get it up as high as you can while it's still hot. Then use your screwdriver and pull it out and stick it back into the gap that you pulled the other one out of. And basically you're unfolding that part of it that keeps coming undone there. There we go. And just kind of working it back into the gap. That's kind of the hardest part, is to get that all back in the gap. Actually, I'm going to take this armor off for right now. I'll put it back on later. There we go. That actually was a lot easier than I expected. Now this one does fit a lot looser than the old one did. I didn't expect that because the first time I was actually able to get one off of a figure, but we'll see off the Super 7 figure. We'll see how it is once we add the loincloth on top. Now what's going to happen as time goes on, this is going to get really loose, his legs here. So I'm going to do a preemptive fix right now and get his legs fixed. So to fix them, I use 2 O-rings. Just to tighten them up. And if you go to my website, he-bro.com, scroll down about halfway, they'll tell you the size to use for the leg fix. And then I use this tool right here to stretch them out. So you want to stretch them out like you do a balloon before you blow it up. Basically make it so they can stretch really easily. And this tool is on my tools list from my first video. So if you go to my first video of the classes, you'll find this on there. And then just slide it up over the tab. Get it up over the leg part. And then just slide it up and around, up into the seam of the leg right there. And now it makes it so that's a much tighter, so you don't have to worry about the legs getting all flopsy-mopsy on you later on. Oop. Guess I'm supposed to use the tool to put it on, huh? Hold on. Makes it a lot easier. Otherwise you'll be fighting it for a long time. And you guys know with these figures, they get pretty flopsy sometimes, the joints. So it's good to have tricks in order to tighten them up. Now some people use like furniture polish or floor polish or other things. This just seems to work pretty good, just to stuff an O-ring in the hole. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get his loincloth out of there. Let's stick it on. I'm going to go ahead and put his legs in there so they're ready to be put on in a few minutes. So his legs are sitting in the hot water now. And to get this on, you just stretch it over the shorts you just put on. And sometimes it can be quite the tricky task because it's wet, it's kind of slippery. So I find using a screwdriver to help pull it over works pretty good. Now it is harder to do the Skeletor than it is He-Man because Skeletor's body was smaller for the 2000X. So these shorts are a whole lot smaller than the shorts we used on He-Man. So they're much more difficult to get on over the figure. So you may find yourself sometimes fighting, trying to get these on for a little while. And it's sometimes it's kind of frustrating. So we'll get on one side, then slip off the other, and it's like, oh, I thought I just about had it. But just keep fighting it. Eventually you'll get it. I'll move his arms out of the way so I don't damage them. Alright, let's try this again. It's funny, the Super 7 figures are way more slippery than the Mattel ones. Come on. You can do it. So close. Ha! I know it sounds funny. I'm pretty excited that I got that loincloth off. I thought for sure I was going to end up having to cut it like it did my last one I made similar to this. Alright, there you go. And the trick to this is to have that loincloth on there. Otherwise it's so tight it would actually suck in and be smaller than his waist and look kind of weird. So you want to have that loincloth on underneath there to give it that aesthetic look so it's not like he's wearing super, super tight shorts. Alright, let's get his legs back on. Now make sure you put the big muscle on the inside of the leg, on the inside. There's one leg. Ugh. This one's just not wanting to go. There we go. Now let's get his cool new boots on. Now I purposely put an earplug in here before I painted it. That way then I would not get the paint in the hole. And let's go ahead and try to stick these on. Okay, I have to heat it up a little bit. Now with these ones, you don't want to heat them up too much because these are made for the ones that have the super long peg. So if you heat it up too much, they'll keep falling off in the future later. So you just want to heat it up just enough to slide it on. And I think the problem is these are too hot still. I have to wait till this cools down before I slide them on. So I'm going to hold on a minute till it cools down. But in the meanwhile, let's toss his armor in the hot water so we can get it stretched. And let's see how his head fits on there, because I know I have to do some sanding on there to make it fit. And sure enough, I'm going to have to sand a little bit out of here to make that fit. Now you will find when you buy custom heads from people, it's quite often you'll have to alter the way they connect before you do it. Just because they just cast them and it's a much harder material. Now if I was smart, I would have done that before I painted it, but I was in a hurry to get it painted. It was cast from a place called Plastic Curves, and I'll post the link to it in the description later on. Yeah, she does great work. She's made a lot of stuff for me. She's on both Facebook and on the web. So close, but yet so far away. All right, so now it's on there. Cool, cool. I'm gonna pull it back off for now. Kick out all the stuff that's in there. Hey, can you give me some Q-tips from my desk? Thanks, Brother. Let's go ahead and check on that armor now. See if we can finally get it put together. Now, worst case scenario, if I can't get it to work, I could potentially just use some armor from a different figure that's made for classics. Kind of don't want to do that. I really want this armor to work so it matches the color just right and has the right aesthetic. Thanks. Okay, one side. Come on. There we go. Got them both on there. Ah. So like I mentioned before, it's warm right now, so I'm going to go ahead and stretch it beyond what it was supposed to do originally when it was for 2000X. And now that I got it stretched, I'm going to take and roll this under and make it so that it's a tighter fit so it won't come undone so easily. There you go. One's rolled under. Then roll this one under. Ta-da! Oh, it undid on the top. No. That is really tight. All right, so I'm going to clean out the inside of his head with a Q-tip so our light shines correctly. Otherwise, it's going to have some stuff blocking the light. Now, the last one I did, I actually glued an O-ring on the bottom of it, so that way then it would match in there. Let's get his eye cleaned out too while we're at it. Well, that's looking pretty cool. And again, I'll probably do some more touch-up paint. You know what? I got to make that hole a little bit larger with a different tool. Sorry, you guys. I know this is taking a little while. There we go. It's just not round enough on the inside to accommodate the ball. Let's take a look at the comments. I haven't looked at them for a while. Let's see. How about cutting the belts from the armor of the parts and have the bumps, then glue them backwards? That's a great idea. That could possibly work. All right, let's see how that fits now. So close. Come on, pop in place. Now, if you ever do buy secondary market heads from people, sometimes if you heat them up, you'll cause the resin just to shatter. So be careful not to heat them up trying to stick them on. It's not always the best way. There we go. Haha, he's just about done. All that's left now is his legs or his feet, his calves. Now these boots are actually marked with an L and an R. And when I designed the 3D models, oof, don't break, man. When I designed the 3D models, I actually, the spikes are supposed to go out. So I knew which was left, which was right. Ha, got one on. Oh, look at that. Now, if I end up liking how these boot things look on the outside, I may end up just gluing them on with some two-part epoxy. I still haven't decided yet which way I want it to look, so that's why I have not committed to gluing them on. That one is much easier. Oop, too easy. Yeah, like I mentioned before, if you get it too hot sometimes, it will not stay on very easily. Ugh, because the Super 7 one is not... so I'll have to wait till that cools before I move it. But there he is. Put his Havoc staff in his hand. Ta-da! Oh, where's that flashlight? Oh, there we go. You did this to me. Oh. So, there he is. I still got to do a little paint around there. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments for my new 2000X Skeletor made in Classics version. Here's a close-up of the leg pieces that I've created to stick on the boots. And I think that's about it. I think he's done. Actually, I got to fix this a little bit on top. It's a little bit crooked. There we go. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. And again, sorry for starting the class late, but I had to hurry and finish painting these. I was in the middle of trying to paint his face, and it just was not getting together very well. I'm probably going to have to glue the O-ring on the bottom of his head to keep it to stay, but you guys get the idea. All right, so this was the final class. I will have a certificate in the same description later on for you to download. So you can put your name on it and hang it on your wall saying you've completed Hebro's master classes. And then, like I said, the next set of classes will be on stop motion and how to do stop motion. And Of course, I'll be building customs all the time. So check out my channel, subscribe to it. And I do cool customs throughout the week. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. Like, share, tell your friends. And I will see you guys next video. Bye now. Thanks, Dean. I appreciate it. Lance, thanks, man. Hey, Brian, thanks, man. I'm not going to put her on eBay. Sorry. This is going to be my last 2000 X Skeletor I'm making. And I don't have a lot of extra Filmation Skeletors to make anymore. So, but no eBay for this guy.